following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Welcome back to the Big Yak. It is me, Nico Salambenny, back in the reins for Season 3, Episode 2, or 82 episodes running. I am joined alongside me by the creator of the Virtuosos podcast, Mr. Jules Houston.
Hold on.
You hear it?
Hold on. What's up, man? I'm happy to be here.
Welcome back. Jules has been a regular on the show, and he's been with us since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Regular co-host. We've collaborated a few times, and what's new? What's going on?
I've been here since the black and white logo, man. Like, ain't that
Yeah,
crazy? I was thinking, like,
that was the OG
yo,
logo.
Like, yo, we went through like 3 logos already. I'm like, dude, like,
Let's
time. I'm like, yo, all right, let's settle in. But you know, I've been good, man. Podcast has been good. Virtuosos has been
plug
great.
The pod. Talk about Virtuosos. How's it going?
So, you know, we do mainly obviously TV and movie stuff, but we dabble in the football, dabble in the basketball, and there's no better time to say it, but I was going to say starting tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my own football content. Okay. Now, it's going to be just mainly, you know, dynasty stuff, best ball stuff, you know, just to get people news, opinions, whatever the case may be. Nothing crazy. But eventually by football season, I want to have my own channel where it's obviously the Virtuosos, but it's a football thing. Yeah. I get people on that want to talk football, you know, if they want to come in, you know, do a draft, watch a game, whatever the case may be. That's something I really want to get out because our football fans are like starting to come in, and it's like we still want to get into movie stuff. Like we really want to be like the Virtuosos is like our movie stuff, and we branch out.
That's where you started.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of like real descriptive episode reviews.
I remember when that first started. Like you guys were going episode by episode. Like, all right, this week we're watching this episode.
Dude, it was crazy.
Breaking it down.
Yeah, it's breaking it down for like an hour, and I was like, it's just not sustainable realistically. So like being in different like I guess fields is always a good thing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, check them out. What's your social media?
So everything is like the Virtuosos Pod. If anything, it's just the Virtuosos. I'm pretty sure. But the Virtuosos Pod is usually what you'll find us on their TikTok, Instagram. I'm pretty sure. I think one thing is like just the Virtuosos. Like maybe like our merch is just that.
I'll link it all. Do you got a link tree?
Yeah, we got a link tree.
Perfect.
So,
we'll put the link tree in
there.
Yeah,
we'll put the link tree.
You'll find everything from there. So we're starting the weird season of the NFL.
The worst time, bro.
It's, you know, everyone always says like the NFL is 365 days a year. It's 52 weeks a year. There's always something going on. But it's this little bridge between the end of the Super Bowl and then the Combine, where there's not really anything going on. The league's kind of on shut down. The guys are in Cancun.
Yeah, basically everybody's on vacation.
So there wasn't much to talk about. We didn't have an episode last week. There was nothing to talk about, so took a little creative break, relaxed, reset, got back on for this. Did some work behind the scenes, but so now we actually have Combine to talk about. We have that's going on, and then everything's ramping up for the draft in April, and then now we're actually starting to get some headlines again. So talking about different transactions that are happening. Chiefs, I mean, this is news as of I think this morning. Either broke last night or this morning. Chiefs released MVS. He had the game winner.
Yeah, he was a huge piece in the playoff run in general. It was like the redemption tour for him. Yeah,
he had a couple big catches in the Super Bowl.
And I'm talking like some crazy catches against you guys. I'm talking like catch he dropping like 10 times out of 10 all season. And I'm like, it's like we all remember like the Monday Night Football over the shoulder, and the ball just goes flying out the end zone, like it bounced off his hands and goes flying off. It's crazy how he, you know, penned in free agency because like he was a cap casualty. Like he was in line to possibly.
Oh yeah,
cut.
The Chiefs freed up $12 million.
Yeah, and they could free up more by cutting Kadarius Toney. I'm pretty sure. So really? I would expect Kadarius Toney to be cut as well.
I didn't look into the numbers for Tony going into this episode.
I think it's like $12 million. I think
that's insane.
Because it's 4 years. Yeah.
In 4 year, dang.
Dude, that when that contract goes up, man, they start looking at the receivers like you're not really a receiver. Like let's be honest. Like he's a gadget guy. So.
Exactly. And that being said, speaking of the Chiefs, they've also allowed cornerback Jadarius Sneed to seek a trade. I didn't see that coming.
Like, who am I to tell them be like, that's stupid? You know what I'm saying? Like who am I? Yeah, back to that championships. Like, who am I to be like, all right, what are y'all doing? But like, clearly y'all know something. I mean, he didn't have the greatest Super Bowl performance. I mean, he allowed that touchdown to Juwan Jennings. I mean, but Juwan Jennings is like 4 inches over him. He's not no small guy now. He overpowered him. It's that simple. Great throw, better play with the ball. But look at L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, if he does get out of there, it's not you could just move McDuffie to outside. That's not his spot. He's an all pro slot corner. So now you got to prioritize getting another cornerback. I mean, Sneed slowly got better throughout these last 3-4 years. It's just not.
He's on his last year of his deal.
It's like, I mean, I want to see him continue to be a Chief because it seems like they have really nice core going on, especially with him. But I did see, when they tagged they tagged him, and they were saying that Chris Jones is priority. No cornerback is ever going to take themselves not being priority. Right. Even they we stopped the wide receivers. I stopped Brandon Ayuk from this huge game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I deserve to be 5 years, $110 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why he wants that trade, but the grass ain't always greener.
That's the thing, and it's tough. Like you said, who am I to say don't do it?
Yeah, like I told y'all not to trade Tyreek Hill. Stupid. They went back to back. So.
But looking at their depth behind him, I mean, Jalen Watson's now your starting right corner. Trent McDuffie. I mean, you would hope that he stays as nickel, but they do have former Big Yak podcast interviewee Nick Jones right behind him.
Yeah, I remember they took it. Didn't the one kid?
Strohs.
Yeah, he announced him. Yep. I remember that.
And then they got behind L'Jarius Sneed is Iko Boydo. I don't even know who that is.
Not sure
I
if
don't
he
think
ever played
he's
a
got.
snap.
I don't think he's gotten a single snap this season.
So they got us out there. It was if Sneed go,
you
you
got
see
Nico
us.
Salimbeni and Jules Houston as backup nickel and left corner.
I'm here. I'm right there. If you need me to guard Stephon Diggs in divisional round, don't.
Call up Jules. He's got you on the boundary. No worries.
I got you. Hey, I'm right there with him. He might have 12 catches, but he ain't have 13.
There you go.
Hey, 12 catches is a lot, but 13 more. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
I broke up one pass. I got the lockdown, put the bell on.
I'm like, bro, you're down 14. Like, I'm here. I'm really here for this. But I look at the Chiefs, man. It's like, bro, they're making moves 2-3 years ahead.
Yeah.
They clearly want to save money for something huge. And everybody thinking they'll sign Mike Evans, they'll sign this guy. Like, bro, when you got to pay Chris Jones possibly $30 million a year, you're not signing Mike Evans.
It might not be the sexiest moves that you're expecting from the Chiefs, and that's not been the MO of the Chiefs. They're not going out, especially since they traded Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. They're not making sexy moves. They're relying on their 7th round pick in Isaiah Pacheco. They're relying on their scouts when they traded up and grabbed Trent McDuffie. Mm-hmm. Probably jumped the Bills for him. I still think they did. I think that he would have been in a Bills uniform had they not traded ahead of him.
Absolutely.
And trusting their guy, that young growing defense, Steve Spagnuolo's got them looking
blitzing
insane.
Like every
He's
single
having,
down.
I think, a career year in terms of coaching. George Karlaftis. So they're relying on their guys. They're growing and building within. So I don't expect to see a big sexy move. There's not going to be that trade for a corner. I mean, I don't even know what the corner market's looking right now.
If they're because Jalen Johnson was the quarterback number one. Yep. Nobody expected Sneed, but now Sneed I guess jumps him as the big corner acquisition because all first team all pro status and whatnot. But look at Jalen Johnson. It's all right, you're gonna have to pay him the same amount of money that Sneed is gonna get. There's no reason to go get him. So you're looking at probably NFL draft. If you're a cornerback, you want to go to this. You want to go to this scheme.
Oh yeah.
If you're a big, 6'1", 6'2" kind of corner, and you're ready to play outside, you want to go to this.
Yep.
You want to go to this scheme really, really bad.
I agree. Moving on from the Chiefs, the Bengals used the franchise tag on T. Higgins. What are your thoughts there? I mean, I don't know if I actually expected that, to be honest. Yeah. I thought that T. Higgins was going to walk. I was saying it for weeks beforehand, and I thought T. Higgins was going to be a Panther this season.
Yeah, the way I look at T. Higgins is all right, two things. Maybe Dynasty is kill my protected on players, but I look at target shares and whatnot, and I was all right, when Jamar Chase not out there, what does he do? He does some good things. There's some things that's not so good. I mean, his separation is not the greatest. But he has great hands, but he also had top 5 in drops. I'm pretty sure. I think he was 5th in drops. He's not. I don't think he's your wide receiver one that's going to change your franchise, but he's a wide receiver that's going to get you from Panthers looking 3-14 last year, maybe even 2-15 to maybe 8 and 9. Now you got some chemistry with Bryce Young and T. Higgins. Now we got to get that guy that could be the target hog or the tight end that could, what I'm saying, chip blocks for him to get easier touchdowns. I do see T. Higgins as, what I'm saying, a really, really, really probably the second best, I would say, wide receiver 2. If with the chance to,
there.
I mean, he's up there, even top 3. But it just sucks because they look at Jamar Chase and it's like, dude, he's about to enter that year where everything's on the line. Contract extension.
I mean, this will be the
I
year
need to
going
prove I'm
into
one of
it.
the best. Like Jamar Chase always been around the top 5. If T Higgins ends up getting traded because that's the goal is to get something for him, it's like T Higgins, you got to go out there and really prove you were $21.8 million.
Hey, if I don't know. Speaking of dynasty, if I were you, I'd probably be buying in on this Bengals offense because,
Dude,
again, like you said,
I know they're pissed they missed the playoffs.
This is T Higgins exactly in a contract year, but this is Jamar Chase kind of setting himself up to enter a contract year. They're gonna have the choice to use his 5th-year option, I think, at the end of next year.
Yeah, and that's that's damn near
and
already
so
accepted.
exactly
Yeah.
that's like the start of like that second contract. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it'll probably be a little bit more of the same. Obviously, with Joe Burrow coming back, there's going to be a big boost to that offense. But hey, that's
$21.8 million. Like, that's not somebody you keeping around.
No.
Especially a check, like, you go wherever you want. You pick it. If they want to get you, you pick it. A 3rd round, 4th round pick, go ahead.
Yeah.
$21.8 million when you got Jamar Chase contract coming up just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
so.
he's not going to be in their long-term plans. I mean, they might honestly. I could see the Bengals trying to go one more year to go all the way deep.
Yeah.
Use whatever leftover cap they have to go all in on maybe an order. Maybe you will see something crazy like Mike Evans coming over there. Or
that's what I'm saying.
Like,
replace him with
even or like Saquon Barkley because he'll have just a year, like something like that. I don't know.
Never know.
Joe Mixon's getting older. They could add. I don't know.
People talking about Brock Bowers falling.
They might make
tight
an aggressive
end.
move. You never know.
Never know.
There's a lot going on with the Bengals. Exciting time to be a Bengals fan. I gotta get my guy Joe Goodberry back on the show. He can really break it down.
Yeah. He was so good, man. That episode, I love that episode.
He was a natural.
He's
really good.
I found him on Twitter and whatnot. I don't have Twitter no more, but I was like, man, like this dude, he knows his stuff.
He
really good.
earned every single follower that he has on there.
I think the next night that was
so
the night
in-depth.
that Joe Burrow wrist injury happened too. I think
We were talking pre-show just about like not like the work-life balance of things, but like the balance of work, life, and running a podcast.
Yeah, impossible.
It's tough, and so I can only imagine because this dude Joe, this isn't even his full-time gig. He lives in the Falls. He works a job. Like he has a 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
And he comes home and he pounds out this content. He has a wife and kids. And
yeah, it's like
if
you want to do it,
you know how little time you have now.
Right. So. I'll be working on like hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for myself, and I'm trying to read now. I'm like. I ain't got no time. I'm tired. I'm about to go to bed. I can't do much more. I can only do so much. It's like, but yeah, shout out to him. Yeah, I love that episode that he was on.
Yeah,
like, he really was good.
We got to get him back on here. I'll ahead of the combine, ahead of the draft especially. But man, shout out Joe Goodberry. Lastly, is it even really headline worthy at this point in time? But Zach Wilson getting permission to seek a trade, like. We probably saw this coming.
Yeah, it's more like I dare you. Like I dare you to find a team that believes in you. Yeah,
go find your value.
I dare you to find a team that believes in you. I mean, it's funny because like we see in reports like the Denver Broncos are looking at guys like maybe even just keeping Stidham or going towards Sam Darnold. It's like, what are we doing here? We were not remembering
really
where
worth
these
it?
quarterbacks were. I know Sam Darnold is still relatively young. You know what I'm saying? He's mobile. He's a bigger guy. He's gonna last in those colder temperatures, obviously. But what are we really doing here, though? Like, if we go for Sam Darnold, it's like your division features Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and the Raiders are looking to trade up for a quarterback this year. They're finally saying like, all right, we need a good quarterback. If that's the case, you rolling out Sam Darnold. Guarantee 6 losses on your schedule right now. And if you got to win at least 10 of those 11 games. Like, you're not winning much of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, going into those Broncos, I don't know. Like, is it even worth it for them to let go of Russell Wilson at this point in time?
I like what Russell Wilson's doing. He's forcing them to like, all right, if you're not gonna pay me, then that's fine. But you're not gonna find much better than me out there. This is the weakest free agency class for a quarterback since last year, because last year was pretty
Your
pretty
headline
bad.
is a hobbled Kirk Cousins coming off an ACL.
And
tear.
do you really want him in those cold temperatures? He hasn't played outside of a dome as his home team since Washington days. Is it worth, guys like, Jerry Judy's potential, like he's free agent, or Cortland Sutton's a free agent actually, I think. So it's like you're losing pieces. Is it really worth it? Like, who really wants to go there? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I guess
There is
targeting.
no exactly. That is a good point. Where Russell Wilson is almost like a reason to come to Denver.
Yeah.
Like these young guys, obviously they grew up watching Russell
Exactly.
Wilson
Yes.
play, and I don't know. I think he still got it. It was kind of rocky this past
Yeah.
year, but statistically, I mean,
Wasn't bad.
he had top 10 numbers. He
He
had
was
top 10
playing
numbers
great.
statistically.
And the way they explained it, I was like, bro, like this is textbook, like business decision. No empathy. We don't care. Money is way more important than whatever numbers you put up. We cannot afford to pay you what was like $40-something million guaranteed. We can't do that. Like, as a franchise that just traded for a coach that isn't return on his investment, we can't afford to pay
I
you
never
this
understood
money.
that, man.
They
Trading for coaches, like using draft picks on coaches.
Yeah, I don't.
That's
it's-
a whole. I could have
It's
a whole
like,
episode.
no,
about
it's
that.
such a weird thing. I don't even want to get into it. It doesn't make any sense though.
Moving on to the NFL Combine. NFL Combine is underway. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are not throwing in the Combine. They're waiting for their pro day, which I get. I
Yeah,
totally
it
get
happens
as a
with
young
every
guy.
year.
You only have, especially with how highly regarded both of these prospects are, you only have something to lose
Yes.
going into the Combine and having a bad day or
Yeah.
even worse, getting hurt.
Yeah, I'll say that could happen. And I look at, what was it, the 2018? I think that was a Baker Mayfield and those
Yep,
class.
that was 2018.
Like, they all threw.
Yep,
So like
All
6
five.
years ago, all of them
all
threw.
the big five. Yeah,
The reason they threw because nobody knew who was going number one. The Browns were the biggest wild card. It's like they need a quarterback. There's 5 quarterbacks that can go number one. They started ruling guys out and ended up being between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. We all know the story. Obviously, we know the story. But looking at it now, it's like, all right, we got to kind of more solidify. It's like last year, it was like, all right, Bryce Younger, C.J. Stroud. It's a pick 'em. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like at the time, it was a pick 'em. I mean, did the Panthers make the right decision? You can't go off 1 year,
to be
but
determined.
it's like you get good news. It's like, all right, you're guaranteed top 3. I'm not throwing.
Yeah,
I'll throw to
right.
I'll throw to my
You have
guys.
nothing more to gain.
I'll go to California and go throw to my guys for 30 minutes and you know what I'm saying, do crazy stuff. Like looking at Anthony Richardson last year, and it's like he was the biggest riser I've seen of a quarterback almost ever. You
And
never
that
see
was-
quarterbacks rising up that many rounds. He's supposed to be like a 4th round guy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude goes to the combine,
Throws the ball at the ceiling.
crazy measurements. He's launching the ball all throughout the stadium. I'm just like, who is this guy? Like I was like I know of him obviously. Like he's a huge athlete. He was doing backflips and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this dude is gonna have an even better pro day.
Reminds me of DK Metcalf. Back when remember
Dude.
that picture that came out with him and AJ Brown?
His stock went up so crazy, and they were like, he can't even catch a ball. And DK Metcalf has been able to catch the ball lately. I was like, you can develop a guy who's this huge talent. And that's why I look at Anthony Richardson as like one of the biggest risers. Like, if you got something to win, like out of this combine, if I'm looking at, somebody like JJ McCarthy, who's already rising, I'm probably not throwing either. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm probably guaranteed maybe like top 15 to a team that really, really has a good offense.
These top quarterbacks, like you said, there's no reason. Like they already kind of know
Yeah.
roughly where they're going,
Yeah.
or what teams are. Some teams already know. They
Yeah.
already got their list of guys.
Yeah.
So you're not going to really change that at this point
Mm-hmm.
in the game.
Yeah, you get good news. It's like you see like the Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff is like he's not doing any testing. He's not doing no combine or pro day. That means he got good news.
Yeah,
that means the Cardinals probably called him and was like, if you're there at 3, we're taking you. And if the Bears take you at 1, the Bears already probably talked to you. I'm sure the Bears said, hey, if we can't trade Justin Fields by this day, then you're a Bear. And the Cardinals said, like, well, if Justin Fields not traded, then you're a Cardinal. You know what I'm saying? You probably have no doubt in our mind that he's going to go to Washington. They don't need a wide receiver. They're fine at wide receiver. I wouldn't say they're good, but they're fine.
Yeah, they
You know
don't
what
need
I'm
to
saying?
spend
Yeah,
high.
it's
quality.
no reason to spend a 2 on
Exactly.
a wide receiver. But it's like when you get good news, like there are what was the incentive to test? But you do see defensive tackles, offensive linemen in the top 10 going out there and going crazy. You know what I'm saying? We seen was it Jalen Carter last year? Great combine. He falls.
Killed the combine. Yeah,
He
absolutely.
falls.
That was the wrong. That was the wrong word to use. I didn't mean to
Yeah, I
say
say
that.
he falls because of obviously what happened, and you know what I'm saying. But when I look at Jalen Carter, it's like he's a solidified top 5 pick, and he goes 9 to the Eagles or 10 to the Eagles, whatever. It's like that's sometimes a good thing.
Mhm.
So maybe you didn't want to go to this team. Maybe the Eagles is the team you need to be on. You know, you finished runner up for defensive rookie of the year. You're on a team that was in the playoffs, man. It's like you cannot complain. You're in a great situation. You're playing next to somebody you consider probably your brother. So shout out to guys that fall in the right positions. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it could be worse. And then, you know what I'm saying? The combine is just a weird thing where, you know what I'm saying? I look at the Caleb Williams and Marvin Harris stuff like you got good.
You know,
news.
yeah. You
I don't look at like
you don't have
it's
anything
not a
to
bad
gain.
thing. You know, I want to see you throw, but like, what am I gonna get out of that? I can just
Right,
go poke
that's
your
just
film.
like that's to get views. Like,
Yeah,
that's like
exactly,
ratings.
exactly. And that's like the combine's surely mad.
That-
The top 2 stars are not not competing. Like the 101 and 102 in Bobby's mind is like, all right, well they're not competing. Well, what do we got? What do we got to show? We got to show Spencer Rattler. Like that's probably your biggest star
that's what it is, yeah.
at your quarterback position right now.
Yeah, it is Spencer Rattler. Bo Nix. Like, are we watching Bo Nix?
Nobody
Michael-
wants to see
Michael
Bo
Penix?
Nix because the Bo Nix is another story, but he really can't. I don't think he can sling it around the field. Like I don't think it'd be enjoyable to watch him at the combine. But Spencer Rattler, I was always high on Spencer Rattler. Like I watched the Elite 11.
Yeah.
He was this cocky kid. I'm like, somebody gonna humble it out of him. I'm saying, but somebody gonna humble him. And then when it happened, you know what I'm saying, it ended up being Caleb Williams. And I was like, if you lose your job to Caleb Williams, it's not a bad thing.
It's Caleb.
It's
Williams.
Caleb Williams. He has generational talent. So that's why people start looking at like, oh, this guy actually can play.
Yeah.
And like with the right offense, and I have a prediction where he gonna go. Hope he does go to a team out west. Not gonna say their names, but I do think he's gonna go to a team out west. I think that's where he needs to be in warm weather, good team, good coaching. Build him up for a year or 2 on the bench. He'll go out and shine maybe at the age 24, 25.
I think so. Yeah, he's a guy that will definitely need a little bit of time to develop.
Yeah, just a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
let it sit with you.
Get
a little
welcomed
bit.
into the NFL.
Mhm.
You know, get a full offseason off. Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with you totally. One thing I did want to point out about the combine, with risers and what to keep our eye on right now is running backs. I feel like in the last,
think we
few
all know.
years, I mean,
They
Jonathan
always
Brooks
rise.
and
They
Blake
always
Corum,
rise.
There's going to be one of them that's going to shoot up all the way. I think I would say this bold prediction right now. I still think there'd be a running back in the top 20.
With me, I look at it like, all right, like it's like this almost I would say every year, a lot recently. We get the quarterback run, then we get maybe like a wide receiver in there, and we get the offensive tackles. Then we get the cornerbacks who are supposed to be these one-run talents. Last year we had Emmanuel Forbes. Should not have been a round 1 guy. You know what I'm saying? He's super small, like
He was,
170.
16th overall, too?
Bro, like he's like 170 pounds. It's like, do you know who you're going against? You're going against AJ Brown. You know what I'm saying? You're going against guys of that stature. Like even Terry McLaurin's a bigger guy
Yeah,
compared
he
to
is.
you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking at him like, why is he a round 1 guy, especially to this team of all teams? So you get those cornerbacks. I mean, after a bad year for the cornerbacks and against Christian Gonzalez, he got hurt. Emmanuel Forbes not really playing too well. I think even Deontay Banks was like early second.
Deontay Banks out of
He
Maryland.
came along a little
He
later.
was top end of the second round.
Yeah. He came on a little bit later, but like I don't think we'll see that many because there's a lot of cornerbacks. There are a lot of teams that need cornerbacks. The Lions need a quarterback. They went Gibbs and Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't prioritize cornerback. Maybe it cost them a little bit because we see what happened in the NFC Championship game. But looking back on it, it's like they made the NFC Championship game.
Right.
Like, we don't need a cornerback. So I think that's where running backs will rise. I think we'll see. I like Braylon Allen a lot.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's talking about. He got the most buzz. He's gonna test so good. It's always one riser.
Yeah.
He's gonna test crazy. I mean, he's literally a beast. He's like 235. Like, and he can run like a 4.39.
Saturday at 1 p.m. I'll be watching.
I'll be to it.
Quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. Like that's the star of the combine right there.
I can't wait for that.
It is interesting this year because I feel like in the last few years with running backs we've had like that one of one guy.
Yeah.
Last year obviously was Bijan Robinson. Year before that you could say Breece Hall. You could say it was Kenneth Walker, but it was two like can't miss guys. Year before that, I mean, at the time was Najee Harris.
And it's crazy.
It was Najee Harris and Etienne.
Yep.
So there was always like one or two guys that were like can't miss. I'll even say Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Everyone was saying Jahmyr Gibbs would have been a top 10 pick if Bijan Robinson didn't exist.
Yeah,
and look, he won 12.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But this year it just seems like there's like I don't know. There's not that one guy
Yeah.
that's like everyone's the consensus number one.
Mhm.
Like you said, a lot of hype around Braylon Allen right now. During the college football playoff, Blake Corum was getting all
Like
the love.
5 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about?
Jonathan Brooks,
Five
another
touchdowns.
Texas running back, is one of the can't miss guys of this
And,
draft.
and it's not to interrupt you, but the most interesting about Blake Corum is that the Chargers let Austin Eckler go.
Mm-hmm.
So there is literally a home for him with his former coach out
It
west.
makes a lot of sense.
I was like, I don't see a situation where John Harbaugh is not calling middle of the second round. Let me trade up and get my guy.
This is gonna hopefully be better than the situation was before, but this is like Urban Meyer getting his guys
Yeah.
from the Jags.
Yeah, I do. I look at it like that only because like I built a national championship roster with like my certain kind of guys, and they were this stifling defense with what I'm saying, athletic quarterback, wide receivers who make just big time plays. He had the big time wide receiver. It was Mike Williams. He's probably gonna be gone. So obviously you want to replace that. You want to get that hard nosed running back that could carry the ball 350 times.
Yep.
He had Frank Gore. You know what I'm saying? 10 years he had Frank Gore. He ain't looking at no Austin Eckler. I'm like,
No.
no offense to Austin Eckler. You're not Frank Gore. Frank Gore is a
No,
beast of
they're
momentum.
looking at a Blake Corum
Yeah,
to,
they're
to
looking
keep
at
the
somebody
chains moving, keep the
that's
ball rolling.
wide.
Mhm.
They need somebody that's
Need a
wide
wide back.
and mean. And if he wants to go Frank Gore Jr., he can go Frank Gore Jr. if he really wanted to. So I look at it like, what I'm saying? Some people have some really like interesting fits, but we get every year where like 2 or 3 guys go places that makes no sense at all. And that's just the NFL being just smarter than us. Like,
Exactly. It's gonna be like we're gonna
be
be like what the hell was that? Like the Jameer Gibbs and Jack Campbell pick.
Yes.
And then we turn around and look back and I'm like, they should have went higher.
Yeah,
They should've
like
went
why
higher
was
than
Jameer
they
Gibbs had available at 12? Shouldn't the Eagles have taken him?
Right.
Like shouldn't they have taken him? But they got
Exactly.
Jalen Carter, so it's like certain people just fall in
Right.
certain teams' lap.
Wide receivers talking on. I mean, it's the Marvin Harrison Jr. show.
Yeah.
I am really excited to see guys like Roman Duns and Malik Neighbors as well.
Yeah, Neighbors is good.
That's gonna be an exciting thing to watch. But again, I don't think those guys have anything to gain at this point in the
Yeah,
draft. I
it's-
mean,
it's a
maybe like
tier, yeah.
who's gonna go? It's
Mhm.
MHJ, and then you go down, and then it's these guys, and then
Mhm.
below that I have guys like Troy Franklin. And
Yeah, Troy
Keon
Franklin,
Coleman,
Brian Thomas. And,
Brian Thomas. Yep.
I mean, I look at it with the wide receivers like, I mean, there's going to be somebody that runs fast, and it's probably going to be Troy Franklin. Everybody got their eyes on Troy Franklin to be the highest riser.
Not
out
gonna
of all
lie,
the wide
that's who I want the Bills to grab at the end of the first.
and
but
that
I don't
makes
even think
sense.
I don't think he'll make it.
I
at
don't
this
think
point.
so.
Like,
I was about to say, I
if
don't
he
think
tests
he'll
the way
make
that I
it.
think he's gonna test
Mhm.
this weekend, then he's not gonna make it.
It's no reason for him to make it. And I also look at it like, think about teams that potentially talk about trading down. I mean, you got the Patriots talking about trading down. If they trade, let's say they trade down and they got a spot to take a Troy Franklin instead of, I'm saying not instead of Marvin Harrison Jr., but he tests good. Let's take Troy Franklin. Top of the second, we get Bo Nix. Our additional pick in the third, we get, I'm saying, the offensive lineman. We solve 3 needs with the 1 pick instead of going with Marvin Harrison Jr. Generational talent, but that guy that tested really well, raw talent. I mean, he has, like not the best of hands, not the best of wide receiver skills, but when you run that fast and you jump that high, we can figure something
can't
out for
teach
you.
talent. That's the-
We can figure something out for you. And I think a lot of these wide receivers, like, I don't see any busting that first round, like where it's like a guy like I'm like I don't know. I'm not touching
there's
him.
not a guy that I'm not touching. That's exactly
That's
it.
how I
Or
look
it's
at
like
it, yeah.
I'll be happy if the Bills end up ultimately getting a wide receiver. I'll be happy with whoever they grab in the first round
Yeah.
because there's a lot of those guys where
Yep.
I feel really good about this wide
yeah,
receiver
for sure.
class from the top all the way down.
Yeah.
So wide receivers are going to be really interesting to watch, just because again for ratings. Like I'm going to be
Dude.
excited to watch just to see them
I
test.
cannot wait. I really want to see a lot of these guys, especially like in the smaller school guys. You got the I think his name Malachi Corley.
Yep.
Crazy yak guy. I mean, he even I seen him talk with Steve Smith. He's saying like I just want to be better at everything. You know what I'm saying? I want to get my route tree better. I'm like, teams love you already.
Yeah.
So they want you want to be more in the slot. Oh, absolutely. You know
Heard
who else
that.
was a primary slot and ended up being an outside wide receiver? CD Lamb. You know what I'm saying? And once you actually want to improve yourself, then they want you on their team.
Yeah.
So seeing guys like that are It's gonna be. Dude, this our receiver class is so beautiful, man.
It's gonna be
It
so
is
much fun to watch.
crazy.
This is good. I have a feeling, and this might be a hot take right now, but this might be a reiteration of that 2014 class from
Dude,
10 years ago that had
It's
OBJ, Mike
feeling
Evans.
crazy.
I'm excited for it. I think, yeah, like you said, there's gonna be a lot of guys that are gonna be home run hits in the first round, particularly at wide receiver. Keeping this train moving. NFLPA, the survey was released this week, this morning actually. So every year the NFLPA surveys all the players in the team for each club, and they end up getting they literally score them like with a grade in certain areas. So the top 5 NFL teams, as terms of like work, like best place to work, I guess in terms of like people like that. So. Top 5. Number 1 was the Miami Dolphins, and their facilities was the number 1.
No shocker. I feel like that's 2 years in a row.
I think it is, yeah. Number 2 is Minnesota Vikings. Makes sense.
Don't shock me at all.
Exact brand
Beautiful
new
place
stadium,
to live.
New facility.
New stadium. I mean, I think they've got like one of the best training facilities, as they it was already said to be, like they're planning for it to be that. Like that was their goal.
Exactly. Green Bay Packers was number 3, which I'm surprised Lambeau's holding up well.
Yeah. Grass.
Yeah, literally at this point, yeah, grass. Philadelphia Eagles were number 4, and Jacksonville Jaguars were number 5. I was actually pretty interested to see Jacksonville Jaguars, especially because it felt like a couple years back it was just a dumpster fire of an organization.
Yeah, it's
look at
crazy
this
to think
turnaround
about.
in a couple of years. Now they're a playoff contender, and all these teams up here, they're at least playoff contending teams.
Yeah, they
which is an
all
interesting thing
have
to look at.
something to look forward to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a testament to, like I said, like as being a good place to work. But look at Miami; they brought in Jalen Ramsey last year, and it's like, why wouldn't you want to go play in Miami? Like I said,
Right.
it's
What's the downside?
Florida is, for an athlete, is a great state to play in, no matter what. The money, the weather, the women, the parties. You know what I'm saying? It's just, why wouldn't I want to play here? You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville's like right around the corner. So
It's guys entering their prime of their
Right.
athletic careers, of their like physical,
and they're gonna throw that money
fitness.
around too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, oh, Jalen Ramsey want to come play here? How about a 2-year extension on top of that? Oh, okay. And I'm making more money. Okay. Let me just tear my knee up real quick. So I only got to play half the season. Like, good for him, obviously, and good for all the guys that end up going. Like Tyreek Hill, like when it was like, where is he gonna go? Where he's gonna go? And I was like, I wasn't thinking Miami. And then I started thinking, I'm like, I mean, it makes so much sense for a guy like Tyreek Hill.
Too much sense for Tyreek
I'm
Hill.
like, this is like a match made in heaven. I'm
Again,
like,
you look at it back like, dang, like that makes so much sense.
yeah, you don't think about it until it actually happens. Like, okay, now I see.
The bottom 5 teams. 28 was Steelers. 29 was Patriots.
I mean,
30 was LA Chargers, which was an interesting one to me because they just revamped their stadium and everything.
I'm talking like one of the biggest stadiums in the world. Like you got SoFi, you know, but I think that's more of a testament to the culture that they had. More of the Brandon
Staley
Staley
words right out of my mouth.
kind of era. I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure I can guarantee they'll be top 10 next year
Under
because of
Jim
Harbaugh.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be one of the most likable teams.
New GM, new coach. I mean, they're well set up. They have a quarterback. They
Yeah.
have fans have something to look forward
Yep.
to.
Yeah, they got something to look forward to, and they will when they hit that pick as well. So when once everything can start getting the ball rolling, where Harbaugh really implements that. Ooh, like this is that grit style. I'm ready to start running. People are gonna start gravitating towards the Chargers.
I agree. They're gonna be. I have a feeling they could be like culture-wise, could be like the Ravens of the West, where it's like, you know, that hard-hitting, like we're gonna run the ball down your throats, and you're not gonna do anything to stop us type game, and then that type mentality where you're just creating monsters on the field.
And not to interrupt you, but that's why I was telling people, I was like, I don't see them going wide receiver or tight end. I see them going offensive lineman. They want to be nasty. They want to be huge. I was like, so they got a 6'6" quarterback back there. You know, you can't have these midget linemen and these average linemen. You need to protect this guy. I was like Herbert, like a lot of people, like, you know what I'm saying? They say what they say about Herbert, but he's never had a good system around him. Like, let's be honest, he's never had that. So now that he has Harbaugh with him, and like everybody's loving him now, like, oh my God, Harbaugh's gonna do great things. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sure y'all know he went to the, like, a guy that's been blackballed from the league. They went to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. This is the best quarterback he's ever coached
Mhm.
by far. It's not even
Totally.
close. Like, so it's about to get real scary for them AFC West teams. I'll
It's
be
gonna be
honest.
fun to see. Hopefully, it's not like a couple years back when it was like the AFC West arms race, and then
Ooh.
Chiefs just went and did their thing.
That was pretty annoying because everybody was like, "Oh, this is the best division in football." And it was the worst division in football.
Exactly.
Was not fun to watch any of their games either.
A couple other notes. Number 31 surprised me. Was the Chiefs for 31st worst place to work, essentially. Number 32. Say it with me. Washington Commanders.
That's all I said. I'm like, I mean, where are the Commanders at? But I mean, I didn't expect the Chiefs to be 31 because obviously you win a Super Bowl back-to-back years. You would think probably a good place to work, but that's the culture you might have to build that culture where it's like, all right, we're gonna be practicing harder than anybody. You know what I'm saying, conditions that you might not like, but that's gonna build you to play in January. Realistically, hey, I don't like playing on, you know what I'm saying, this field in this condition. It's windy or it's raining, it's freezing. We building championship, so we're making this.
It's almost
trophy
like the
case bigger.
Patriot way. Like,
Yeah.
that's where you
I was saying,
that
like,
mentality.
But maybe that's also why the Patriots are like 29. It's like maybe that Patriot way might be something that y'all really think it's not. Maybe it's not a Patriot way. Maybe it's Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Let's just say that. But looking at the Chiefs, I mean, it does shock me, but they didn't have like the best culture in general. Like they have the best, like some of the best fans.
Yep.
But like looking at them, it's like, was Andy Reid this enjoyable coach now? No, we don't expect to be like, oh, some happy guy that makes, you know what I'm saying, like things go
Still gonna be a
smooth.
hard ass,
He's
I
gonna be.
guess.
It's
Yeah.
like Kelsey ain't press him like that for being like a cuddly bear. You know what I'm saying? They probably talk back to each other all the time. It's like, even though that was unnecessary, but you know what I'm saying. Like sometimes you might have to create that environment. Like, all right, we're gonna be going. You know what I'm saying? Hard nosed kind of football.
Going into just some of the one-offs, and then we'll move on to the next topic. The Chargers. One of the reasons why they were graded so low was their like how they treated like families. So like they charged players for daycare. They Chargers charged $75.
This is a team that
This is
that
a-
rostered Phillip Rivers for 15 years. The
you
Chargers,
imagine that Bill Must
they
have-
probably thinking like, hey, we can make a lot of money on this man. We can make our return on investment.
$75 for the first child and $50 for each additional child. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers also charge players' families. They charge them $90 a child.
Wow.
It's noted that most teams do that for free. Like
Yeah.
daycare makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to.
You would think at least like, you know what I'm saying, like
these
those
guys'
awkward
schedules,
times.
like,
Yeah, it's awkward
think.
times. Like I want you to practice at 7 a.m.
and it's like, okay, if you're like an NFL player, like, okay, $90 does not mean much.
Yeah.
But it's like, really, like,
yeah,
come on.
like, that's how I look at it. It's like, all right, man, like sure, but for all these days I gotta work and I go there and play football and practice, and then you know what I'm saying, like it's like it's a week to week thing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep bringing them there, and like you got to make sure they got. You know, it's a lot. You know, having a kid bringing them all to places, that's very annoying.
The the Bucks facility stinks, like literally stinks. They said there was plumbing issues and the locker rooms were unclean and smelly. Those are real notes from.
That's not the Baker Mayfield house that I remember. He was building houses and whatnot in
Those
Cleveland. I mean, those
commercials,
progressive commercials that I don't remember them being stinky. I remember them real clean and real always mowed. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's interesting, I guess.
Let's see, and then lastly, traveling. So players are also graded on how easy it was for traveling and what made things right for them. So Tennessee just doesn't give a shit about their players, like making them sit in the back of the plane,
Wow.
like stuffed, like probably like economy seating, but like for like an offensive lineman. Like, could you imagine like?
Wow.
Like I hate
It's-
like
it's
if I get on
and
a
that's what I'm
plane
saying, like
and-
y'all roster huge guys. Will Levis is a huge guy. Derrick Henry is a huge guy. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, could you
what are we
imagine, like, you
doing?
get the ticket and you're in between, Derrick Henry and,
and Will Levis, and you're what's his name, Westbrook Akine, and he's just like,
you're Tajay Spears, like,
and I'm not getting a target when I go here. So it's like, what am I even here for? Like, that's kind of crazy even just think about.
So yeah, those are always interesting to read. And I definitely recommend anyone taking the time to look through those and just kind of see like the workplace thing, the workplace atmosphere for these guys, because this is not just like like entertainment. Like this is their literal
Yeah.
day job. Like,
This is a
what
job.
they do for a living.
Yep.
So it's always interesting. It kind of adds some relatability, I think, to players. Kind of brings them back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
In the minds of the fans, I think. So moving on, I got to take a quick break and promote Underdog. I won't be using this prompt much anymore, but you can still use it during basketball and football, and what I'm talking about is pick'ems. So I'm proud to be partnered with Underdog Sports, my favorite place to play fantasy games. Still check out their pick'ems. Again, there's no football to pick, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing UFL. UFL's coming up.
I do see UFL being on Underdog. They got esports.
Exactly.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, if you're betting on COD and Overwatch, like I'm sure we'll be able to bet on the UFL. So it's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If that sounds like fun, download their app today and use my code BIGYAC, that's BIGYAC, to get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. We cannot wait to see your entries. Man, also just shout out Underdog. I was saying to Jules like before this, like I don't make a dime right now with
tough.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Like we don't make any money. These guys take good care of us over at Big Yak. Underdog has been with us since we were even smaller than what we are now, and they've been with us every step of the way, giving me content and things to post, and keeping me in the loop and making it feel like a family. So they're a great partner to have in the sports world, and honestly I can't recommend their app enough. Their app is so much fun to use.
It is.
All of me and Joey's texts, Joey, my producer, shout out, are just like, you using this pick today, what's these picks like?
I mean, we all want to make some money.
Exactly. Make some money and make some money.
We all want to make some money. Everybody want to make a little money. That's all I know.
Before we go, I do want to talk a little bit about Dynasty Football, Dynasty Fantasy Football, that is. So, man, I want to lead off with this. Have you ever played in a 32-man Dynasty League?
No, never. And as crazy as that sounds, they like 32 men. Like, oh, that's
sorry, I should say 31 men and 1 woman.
Yes, a mighty woman. But when I look at it, like, I mean, shout out to Austin that put all this together. I mean,
he's doing it for free.
The will, that's what I was saying. Like the will to even want to do this is already too much. The payouts, the breakdown is great. The roster construction is great. It's not like you don't need to roster a tight end. So I'm saying like I think
the scoring is very fair.
The scoring is fair. There's a path for anybody to win. It's 32 teams. You just need to be lucky. You know what I'm saying? It already is luck with 12 teams. You really need to be lucky in a 32-man league.
This is both of our first experience, full disclosure, for doing a 32-man.
Yeah.
And let alone Fantasy League, Dynasty League.
And I like it is crazy because like we know the most people in there. I'm pretty sure, obviously. So like
right, there's like 8 of us that are from around here. We're all in the same leagues. We've been doing this for years.
Exactly.
And then it's like 24 randoms.
24 randoms. I'm talking dudes in the UK and
we got a guy in France. A guy in the UK.
A guy that's been traveling back and forth. he's like, I'm about to go to the West Coast today. I'm like, I don't know what you do, but he's all over the place.
And we got guys that are working on the West Coast, that are living on the West Coast, that are working overnight, so they're not on the same time as that. So there is someone active in that group 24 hours every day. And for better or for worse, too, because we're in the draft right now. Now, imagine this, 32 teams, 31 rounds. It's when did it start?
I think it
2
started
weeks ago, or a week and a half now. I think it was 10 days ago. It might have started.
Maybe even more because I think it started on like a random Friday morning.
Yeah, it was like, all right, we're off.
It was like, all right, we started, no timer. Right, and I didn't even know what pick I had. I just loaded that like I picked 6. All right, I'm cool with it, but it was. And actually, I'm sorry about that. Nico stole my player. I was gonna take CJ Stroud at 6.
I knew you
but
were
dude,
going for
dude jumps up and takes CJ Stroud. That's the first pick I see. I'm like, who took CJ Stroud? It's like Neezy. I'm like, okay.
I was sitting there at 7. So he had picked 6. I had picked 7, and I'm like, me and Jules, we're thinking the same in this league. I just know for a fact I've played enough Dynasty and Fantasy with Jules to know that we're thinking the same thing here. I'm like, I gotta find a way to get to CJ Stroud ahead of him.
Dude, I couldn't believe that. And one dude that was trying to trade the pick, he's like, he took so long to trade his pick. Apparently, like I'm talking like forever. I'm just like, dude, who took CJ Stroud? Like, there's no way. And I don't even remember who's even on the board still. Obviously, yeah, you got the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen picks out the way. But like, I'm like, my whole draft strategy just changed right there. And, like, you don't
Jalen
think
Hurts went
about
3,
that.
and then it was like, all right. I'm like, this is prime CJ Stroud
Dude,
time.
could not believe it. I'm like, dude,
But
the whole
hey,
strategy just
You
changed.
turned
right
around.
there.
I mean, you got presumptively Caleb.
Yeah, I'm as of today, I'm taking
He
Caleb.
took rookie pick 1-1. So in that league, you draft a kicker for your draft position.
Mhm.
1 kicker per team. So as soon as you pick your kicker, okay, that's your
Yeah.
player. So you picked 1-1. I mean,
Yeah. I'll take it only because, like, I was like, all right, I'm going young as humanly possible. I think my oldest player is like 26. Like, and we're 7 rounds, about to be 8 rounds. And we're probably on the clock right now. And
I was looking- I was
probably
kinda, like,
mentioned me
thinking
like
over-
30 times already. Like, yo, where is he at? Like, but we already told him like we was gonna be on here, so
we've entered the 8th round. Officially.
I'm up soon. I know I'm up soon. I'm like 806. So I mean, looking at some guys, I mean, like my queue's been pretty untouched. So I'm
My
pretty
queue
lucky.
got decimated in
Dude,
the
that 7th round, a lot of people say, like,
There's a lot.
Austin was like, he's like, why this dude take? I'm like, bro, you took my pick in like round 3. Like, I'm still on that. Like, I'm still mad you messed up my whole draft board. But it's a really fun experience. I mean, I know, like, at first I'm like, I was dreading. I'm like, oh, 32 people. Like, how am I supposed to construct the roster? I looked at the roster, I'm like, all right,
This is
I
doable.
can work with
And
this.
now
yeah.
that we're in like round 8, I mean, it's been going like around a day.
Yeah.
But now that we're in round 8 and I'm seeing some of the players that are still here, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's not
it's
that
not,
bad.
like,
yeah.
as
I
stretched
can
out
fill
as
out
I
a
thought.
roster at
like
least, yeah.
I don't have DeMar Hamlin starting as my DB. Like,
Hey, listen, I want 3. Give me 3. Give me 3s up, man. Hart, runner up for comeback player of the year. Give me him. He's gonna find a home somewhere, hopefully.
Pittsburgh. You see that?
It's home in Pittsburgh,
Did
not the Steelers.
Did you? He wants to retire as Steeler.
But I
I get
figured
it. I mean,
that he did want to play in Pittsburgh. At some
If
point.
I was like the whole incident aside, if I was a player, I mean, growing up, obviously I'm a big Bills fan. So it's like if I got drafted to say the Broncos, I spent my career with them, and then I went on. I would want to have at least a couple of years of as a free agent and go to the Bills. Like it's your childhood team. Like that's
yeah, like I want to bring
you're
a ring
achieving
here.
life
You know what I'm
goal.
saying? Like, or just like be a part of the experience to bring a ring.
Exactly.
here.
So I get it, Demar. There's no hard feelings here.
Yeah,
but-
man. I mean, and sometimes you gotta leave
Exactly.
to you know what I'm saying, to
Exactly.
get back to where you want to be. So good for him, realistically.
Shout out 3. So going into Dynasty, that was a fun little bit into talking Dynasty, but I want to talk today about buys and sells. So I got a list of guys, and we'll just fire them off real quick. Are you buying these guys? Are you selling them? If you say you have them in your possession, they're on your team. What are you doing with them? Is it a keep, trade, or a hold? Anthony Richardson. So obviously he had a pretty good first 4 or 5 weeks, and then had that shoulder injury, which took him out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Specifically talking fantasy football, he looked like the rushing threat that we expected him to be. So he had so much added value right from the get go.
Yeah.
If you are a Anthony Richardson manager, are you getting rid of him, or are you buying Anthony Richardson in this offseason at all?
So the way I look at buys, sells, and all that, I look at the time.
Mhm.
We're going into a period where nobody wants vets. Everybody wants a younger guy. There's no better time to buy or sell Anthony Richardson than today.
Yep.
And the next better day was yesterday, and the better time was last week. I was like, either he has no injuries, he's as healthy as possible, he'll be thrown in a few months. You see this news, all right, we got to get him out of here. I mean, you can get X amount of first rounds, but if I was an Anthony Richardson manager, I'll be selling him right now.
That's a good point that you brought up about the timing of it. You're going to see, like, it's always like the vets. Like, you probably could have gotten a late first for Keenan Allen
Yeah.
during the season.
And
right
in
now,
November, you would have got a late. You would
you
have
gotten
got
a late
first
one,
yeah.
which is so valuable in dynasty leagues. If you hold on to him right now, you're lucky to get a mid second.
I was like, I don't think nobody's taking a second.
That's exactly.
Nobody's taking a second.
If you're
for
lucky,
Keenan.
you're
Yeah.
lucky if you're getting a mid second. You're probably getting like a top 3
Yeah,
or a top third rather.
it's crazy to think about.
So the timing, I agree with you totally. I have Anthony Richardson in a couple dynasty leagues. I personally believe in him. I was a big fan of his coming into last season. So I'm holding almost kind of selfishly, but if I had the roster moves, and I don't know, in my dynasty league, I have 1-2 overall. I have Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson, and I have 1-2 overall. I just came from placing. I placed like third in the league.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm a contending team right now, but I have young guys. I have two.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of him when it's a QB class 102. Maybe you sell the 102, not Anthony Richardson. You sell that, move back to like 105. You got the chance to take probably neighbors, Bowers, Adunze.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got options. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go quarterback. So now you can move that piece around a little bit. But I mean, let's say like young guys and not even March yet. People are loving. If they see if they see 23 or younger, you probably could sell them for a second right now, and it doesn't even matter. I can sell
Age alone.
I can sell anybody right now in the age like 23 or younger right now, to get a second.
Keeping on quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts had probably he didn't have like a horrible statistical year, but there was that second half season collapse, which tanked a lot of Eagles players' stocks.
Yeah.
For me, right now, Jalen Hurts, this is the cheapest you'll ever be able to get him. So
Yes.
if you don't have him, go for him.
The cheapest, that's it.
He's cheap right now.
It's only gonna get more expensive. And the only reason I say that is because now AJ Brown's cleared the air. He said, "I don't want to leave. It's where I want to be." Jalen Hurts is my guy. It's my quarterback. So now you got to think where it's like, all right, if AJ Brown's not leaving, he's not gonna lose a top tier target. Devontae Smith's going into his fourth year, potentially a contract extension year. There's no reason you should be selling Jalen Hurts. You should be buying Jalen Hurts. If you have a chance to trade, let's say like a top 6 pick. Let's say you're at 106, and you got your quarterback one is like Brock Purdy.
Yep.
His return on investment already happened. Now you got to get that guy that has rushing upside, because you're not expecting Brock Purdy to throw the ball 40 times. You don't expect Jalen Hurts to throw it 40 times, but you expect him to touch the ball and have a play made no matter what in every single quarter, every single possession. I look at Jalen Hurts like he's already a quarterback, 2 last year, I want to say. I think he's going to be a quarterback 2. He's like quarterback 6, I want to say, this year.
Again, you're
on average, that's quarterback 4.
QB1. Like, you're QB1.
Yeah. You're one of the best assets to have right now.
Exactly.
And to buy you today is like, you can get lucky and like maybe send like a first this year and a first next year, and somebody might be like, we're talking.
You got a team that's looking to rebuild, and they're biting.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we can talk. Absolutely.
That opens, a first this year, first next year. That opens the door.
Opens the door.
Doesn't even matter where in the
opens
draft
the door.
position. It opens the door to conversation.
Yep.
Maybe you throw a player in to sweeten the deal.
Yep.
Boom, you got yourself a top 3 quarterback.
Hey, I'm throwing in Brock Purdy.
Right.
I'm tearing up. I don't think I'm getting the guy one at 106, or let's say 106.
I'd be comfortable throwing Brock Purdy in a first to get Jalen Hurts right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Honestly, looking back at it, it would be a steal. It would be a steal.
You would be looking at they'd be looking at you crazy because like, you trade a first and Brock Purdy, like, like you must not know Jalen Hurts runs 15 touchdowns a year. I ain't gonna say nothing, but that's about 90 points.
They didn't outlaw the tush push, so
I ain't hear no new. I heard more about trade deadline getting pushed up before I heard about tush push getting banned. So looking like we're good there.
Jordan Love. So he had his breakout season as a quarterback, his first full year as a starter, especially as the year went on. He looks better and better. Are you buying in on it, or are you holding, or are you selling?
This is the most expensive Jordan Love could possibly be. Coming off a situation where he won a playoff game and all that, I look at him, though, as like, I think he's a hold in general. Like, I don't think you should be buying him, and I don't think you should be selling him. I think if you have him, you're happy because you probably got him in a startup at like in around 8 or 9.
You got him in a late.
Like, you're lucky to have Jordan Love, and there's no reason to trade him going into second year starting. There's no reason to buy him going to second year starting because you're going to overpay.
Yep.
People are going to want 4 firsts for him. People want less first. People want 2 firsts for Joe Burrow.
Yep.
We got to know when to buy somebody, when to sell somebody. This is the perfect time to hold Jordan Love.
Devon Achane. So he had, I don't even want to say up and down because it was up when he was healthy. And that was the exact way to put it. I mean, he dropped 52 fantasy points in a single game.
Yeah.
He was like, he is the epitome of like a burst home run runner.
That is like since like Chris Johnson. And like, I'm not comparing him to Chris Johnson. I don't think he can handle that kind of workload. And that's where I'm getting to the point where like, you are in a weird position with if you got Devon Achane. If you have him, I'll be looking to sell him because he would, like a lot of people say, if he was entering this year, he'd be running back 1. He'd probably be a top 15 pick.
Yep.
You would have to at least get a mid first. in some kind of way, and then you could add in somebody like, let's just say, I don't want to go too old. Maybe like a Josh Jacobs. You can literally get Josh Jacobs in the middle first and trade away Devon H. And be like, all right, well, Josh Jacobs potentially going to a different situation. People think he's old. I think he's only 26.
Right.
Josh Jacobs never had a crazy workload any year. Last year he was just very
That's
efficient.
I didn't even have him on the list, but
He's very efficient.
I'd be buying some Josh Jacobs.
People are looking at it. I'm like, dude, he's going into a better situation most likely. His situation
He gets
got
to pick
so
where he goes.
bad.
Exactly.
It was so bad last year. I'm talking downgrade at quarterback, downgrade at coach, downgrade in the offensive line. I mean, the defense did get better, but that didn't add to his carries.
The thing was, he was
nothing.
RB1 before that, so it was like that. The following year was only going to be worse statistically, like just naturally.
There's no
like,
way he was going to be able to bounce back from that. Look at Devon H. It's like, it's a weird time to have him. He will be running back one in his class. He's still young. He barely even had a crazy workload. But like you said, when he was healthy, why I say when he was, dude got healthy. He got hurt like every other week.
That's the thing.
and then,
it's almost like you're looking at a young
exactly. And I'm looking at him. I was about to say, I'm looking at him like, do I ever expect him to have more than 15 carries in any game? Let alone for on average, I'm saying like in any game in general, is he gonna break that threshold of like I'm RB1, this is my backfield? And I was talking to Chris, he's like he's running laps in that backfield. I'm like, you didn't watch anything of Devon H. all year, and that's all I'm saying because he was having like 8-9 carries, even in the game he scored 52
spurts.
I was like, he was like, bro, he only touched the ball I think 13 times.
Right.
That's not sustainable. That's not
the
something he
efficiency,
can do ever.
There's no shot that that's gonna hold.
Exactly.
This is kind of tying back to what we were talking about with the combine earlier. Thinking about like Blake Corum again, like the thunder to lightning type backfield.
Yes.
This is a perfect spot for Blake Corum. Again, that's a whole different conversation for another day.
Yep.
But that being said, I think Devon Achane is going to have some not competition in the backfield, but
I was
compliments
saying that. I was
in the
like, I don't
backfield.
think Mostert's done.
No, he's good.
He didn't look bad at all last
he
year.
looked
He
good.
looked faster
He
than he
had a-
was the year before.
He had a fully healthy season.
But he's
for the
running back
most part.
too.
Exactly.
running back
What did he-
too.
Yeah, 15 touchdowns.
Yes, I think he was. I think he had more.
18 touchdowns. I think he
He's
might
up
have been 18
there. He's
touchdowns.
up there.
So again, I agree with you. Where if you have him, great. I don't know if I would buy him.
Yeah, I would not be buying Devon Achane right now.
Christian McCaffrey. So he's coming off. He's been RB1 when healthy since 2017.
Yeah.
Since he came into the league, he was always a top end RB. He is getting to that threshold. They call it. It's like the
age 28
the
season,
28
I think.
drop off.
Yep.
We've seen it happen to guys like Todd Gurley.
Yep.
We've seen it happen to Le'Veon Bell. And this past year, Dalvin Cook was another casualty of that. Now that could be the Jets. That could be I don't know.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, do you think he has another year of top RB play? If you're a contender, you buying him. What are you doing?
It just depends on your team construction. So let's say like, all right, I got 3 star wide receivers. I got 2, let's say top 15 quarterbacks. I got a tight end that's worth something. I got maybe like a 108. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get no running back here. I maybe don't even have a second. Don't even have a third. But I have all my picks for the next couple of years. I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey like, oh, absolutely, I will welcome you on this team, and you change this team from, frisky to contender to potential championship, potential 2 championships. The 49ers use him so well that I don't think this drop off will hurt him that bad. Like, it might be like running back 1 to like running back 4. Maybe 4 or 5 less touchdowns. His touchdowns were crazy this year.
Yeah.
I'm talking, I seen on at the casino, minus 700 for a touchdown, minus
You're losing
1100.
money by betting him.
I'm like,
And it hits.
you have no business being this good at football. You know what I'm saying? But what I seen in that Super Bowl was a guy that still has a lot of fucking burst.
Yeah.
I seen him run so fast on that touchdown catch. I was like, I've not seen him run that fast. He was a Panther. He was out of there.
He
And I'm
looked like he was
like,
22. Like he
and
looked
I
like
was- I
he
looked at it, I was
ran,
like-
had the athleticism of a guy still in his prime.
I was like, interested. I'm not gonna say much more than that. He gets the rest for the next. And this is a guy that was hurt a week before the playoffs. Wouldn't even be able to tell. He still looked great. So I like Christian McCaffrey. I would be if I'm a contender. I'm buying him. If I'm a team rebuilding, I would. I mean, you probably shouldn't be rebuilding with Christian McCaffrey. I mean,
How far away? Yeah, it
how
depends on
bad
how
was
long
your
this
team?
rebuild is, yeah.
How bad was your team if you're rebuilding?
I'm
with
not looking at
Christian
Christian McCaffrey if I'm on a fresh teardown.
Yeah, if
but-
you're on a fresh teardown, you should be selling Christian McCaffrey for at least 2 first. I would
I-
say at least 2 first. I would probably try to get like a Tajay Spears in there.
Interesting. That sounds like a trade offer. It's like
Just saying.
I have two more players. I had more, but we'll skip them sake of time. So two receivers that I want to talk to you about. JSN had, for what it was, an underwhelming rookie year. Now,
Yes.
some people will say, okay, that's to be expected because he was playing with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in the same field. And I think the Seahawks had a little bit of a down year compared to the year
very,
before.
very.
But you look at guys like Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, Rashee Rice, even, who all performed fantasy points output-wise better than him in this year one. So I don't know. Is this the lowest the cheapest you can probably get JSN for right now?
I'm gonna say it's not the lowest, only because we still don't know what's going on with Tyler Lockett. No, he's like the main guy. Like everybody thinking, like, oh, when Tyler Lockett goes, that's when JSN will go up. He still has drop issues, still has separation issues sometimes. I'm not sure if he's good against man or zone. Not sure what he's really excelling at. He hasn't carved out his role, but he is the youngest out of all the guys you did mention. 21 years old as of today. I mean, you got to keep him. You know what I'm saying? But to buy him, I think the JSN owners around the world are still believers in him. So they'll sell him
they're
for
still
a lot.
holding. It's
so if you're not buying him for, a first and like Jacoby Myers maybe, don't do it. This is a great wide receiver class. You do not need JSN. That's how I look at it. Like wide receiver class, wait on JSN. Wait till it's about October. All right, he hasn't picked it up. Let me go buy him now. I'll hold him on my roster. But
spend your assets on higher first, so you can get your guys in this.
Yeah, because the way I look at it is like I got MHJ over him. I got Neighbors over him. I got Rome over him.
I'm right there with you.
Like, come on now. I mean, that's three guys.
You compare
you can take.
these two wide receiver classes with each other.
Dude, this one is
this is unreal.
It does something to the other one. I'm not gonna say a word, but it does something to the other one. It makes you look at it like those guys have been maybe second round guys. You know what I'm saying? And I always thought Jordan Addison was a round one guy because of what I'm saying, they talk about the drop in production, but he played with Caleb Williams. People look at that as like, all right, you play with a star quarterback, the ball was spread out more. Right. You can adjust any situation. Look at JSN. He's the youngest. He's probably still round one guy. But Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, they would not have been touching that first round with these guys in there. Even Keon Coleman probably would have been higher than Quentin Johnston. But it just depends on the fit, obviously. None of these guys with situations I felt like that were great at all. And some of them made out, some of them didn't. But it all depends on the fit. I look at JSN as like, they're going to tax you for JSN. Dude, don't go buy JSN today. Just wait. It's not worth it at all.
Last guy, DJ Moore. Now, this is an interesting one.
Buy DJ Moore. Please buy DJ Moore, dude. The thing with DJ Moore is that, like, he never ever popped off the paper as like, oh my God, he's the top 5 wide receiver, top 10 wide receiver. He never got that love. It was around the middle of the season where like, all right, he's starting to pick it up. This guy might be really, really good. He might be a wide receiver one in fantasy even next year. Justin Fields gets hurt. Had Badgett come in. And the Badgett days were very murky for DJ Moore. And then Justin Fields comes back. He still has a couple like wide receiver 12 finishes and whatnot. DJ Moore with Caleb Williams is a wide receiver 1.
That is, I think, the best way to put it. It's obviously a very different situation. It's almost like reverse, where it's like when Jalen Hurts got A.J. Brown, where both of them popped off. When Josh Allen got Stephon Diggs, both of them popped off. This is a different kind of situation where you're coming in, but the way that Caleb Williams is as a talent, he's going to elevate even the wide receiver 6. Yeah. He was that's facts are facts. DJ Moore was wide receiver 6 last season.
I'm saying, even if you take away that big performance, I think he was like wide receiver 13.
Exactly.
I'm saying it's not like it's like that one performance.
He's still a WR1. Yeah. He's still considered a WR1.
Yeah.
Whether people like it or not, that's what the facts say. That's what the stats. Exactly. That's what the facts say.
And I'm with it.
And now you're getting likely a potentially the big the biggest quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck.
That's how I look at it.
Everyone always says since Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
But it's like, guys, he might be a little bit better than Andrew Luck.
Yeah, like I look at Caleb Williams like, all right, he's gonna be like one of the best playmakers that we've seen at the quarterback position. Like they kind of compare him to Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes is a little bit different. He's real unconventional. You're never getting another Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes doesn't even understand football like that. I look at Caleb Williams like it seems like he understands football. He seems like he really loves football. my only issue with Caleb Williams is like, does he turn into a little bit more of a rusher because he can scramble a little bit? Do they expect him to like, all right, let's take the safe play sometimes? When I think those first 2 years of his career, you want DJ Moore on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could sell him like when Caleb Williams starts smartening up, but he's gonna be taking a lot of shots. I see DJ Moore maybe potentially leading the league in touchdowns.
I could see it.
Because he's that
Big
offense
body.
is literally like,
Mhm.
and they're losing. I mean, Darnell Mooney's not a huge guy, but Darnell Mooney's probably gone. You're probably losing. Khalil Herbert's probably getting a roll out of there.
You might see Gabe Davis go that way.
That's out. Hey,
The Bills-Bears pipeline is alive and well.
man, I'm telling you, I'm buying DJ Moore so easily. And I might have made his stock go up saying what I said, like, oh, you buy him. Look what he did with like he's capped with Justin Fields. Justin Fields don't throw a lot of touchdowns. Caleb Williams probably gonna throw about 30+ touchdowns. Justin Fields could not sniff that number if he wanted to.
No.
Even healthy, he was not gonna sniff that number, I don't think. So when I look at DJ Moore as like, he got that. He's in the right offense. Whether even if it's Justin Fields next year again, I'm still buying DJ Moore.
I'm right there with you. DJ Moore is a complete total buy. Like I could probably get fleeced for DJ Moore right now.
When
If
I
someone
see,
tried
when I
to
see
send me
him get
offers,
taken in
like-
that, when I see him get taken at 32-man league, I was pissed because I'm like, who's taking DJ Moore that early? And I'm like, me. I'm probably doing that. If I'm right there, I'm probably taking him too. So can't be too mad. I am mad obviously because like I wanted him. I have 1-1. I want Caleb.
Mhm.
I wanted to stack. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And I'm sure that guy would tax me knowing that I'm trying to get Caleb Williams. So you got to know where you're at to buy these players. I might, if I'm a contending team, I might send 2 first, knowing that they're going to be at the back end of the draft.
Yep.
Just that's how I look at it. Like if you feel like for sure you're a top 3 team,
You can
send them
gamble your
110,
first. You can
yes.
afford it because you already have so many playmakers on your roster.
Yep.
So that's all I got today. Jules, thank you for coming on. We actually I kept saying before the show started, I'm like, this is probably only gonna be a 25-30 minute episode. We're like at the hour mark, so I'm like,
Yeah.
this is perfect. This
Perfect
is the
episode.
Perfect ending.
Perfect
This
episode.
this flowed really well. This is my first guest since the changeover with the Big Yak. So thank you. It was only right to make you our inaugural
I appreciate
guest.
it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for all you do. Again, check out the Virtuosos. Give them a shout. Show them some love. I'll be linking their all of their stuff, their link tree and all that in anything that we post. We'll have some clips coming out from the show the last couple of days. In the next couple of days, we'll do some collab content and things like that. So once again, thank you for coming on. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you to Joey for producing. Thank you to Moranto and Emerge. Thank you, BICPP Radio Network. As always, stay tuned, guys. We have some more coming. Show does not end after the Super Bowl. We're full back and ready. Have a good one, guys.